The days are starting to get warmer and longer. The sun is starting to show itself more and more, and the rain that we're getting feels like it has absolute purpose these days. And I'm just so thrilled for all that's to come in our garden. I feel like I didn't realize how much we actually got done around our property this winter until I started making this video, and until we started working on the garden, like full on, this is about to happen, working on it. And now I'm seeing not necessarily the fruits of our labor because we don't have a harvest yet, but I'm seeing the convenience and feeling the accomplishment of it. And it's so rewarding, so refreshing. And that's part of why I love diving into the idea of self-sustainability and a homestead so very much. We are on 1 acre, so it's nothing expansive, it's nothing huge. We would love to have more land, but we're just using these years right now to really hone in and focus on learning skills and building up our abilities, our knowledge, our experience to manage things well and to provide for ourselves in this way. So I just wanted to take you along over the next few minutes of what all we've kind of been working on throughout the winter months and where we are right now going into the 2024 garden season. So over the winter, we focused on compost, chickens, and starting seeds indoors more recently. We built a bigger compost bin and then also created a compost sifter in order to get a finer consistency to put on the garden and it be easier for the soil to absorb. Around the 1st of February, I started spinach and lettuce seeds indoors, as well as chamomile and cucumbers. I don't know why I did cucumbers. I guess I just thought, oh, it's green. It'll grow fine. Well, no, they're really not frost hardy at all. They're very sensitive plants. And I had a greenhouse, but it was a bit flimsy, got blown over into the neighbor's yard by the wind and kind of busted apart. So I'm still kind of torn about what to do with my cucumbers, but for now they're just chilling in the seed trays. Also around the 1st of February, we went ahead and put landscaping fabric down over the area that we hoped to be our garden space, hoping that it would kill off any grass sprouts that tried to start coming up as we were getting warmer days here and there, not super often, but we'd have a few days randomly where it was 65, 70 degrees, and we just wanted to go ahead and nip that before we tilled. Well, then we went ahead and tilled a few weeks later, not completely confident in when we should till because Easter comes so early this year, but we went ahead and did it so that we could get our garden paths raked out, so that we could go ahead and start amending soil the best we could. Honestly, to get my spinach and lettuce sprouts in the ground because they came up so quickly in these indoor seed trays. I did not expect them to grow so fast, but within 3 days they were like ready to go. And so I let them sit for a little bit longer until they got about 2 sets of leaves on each one, and then went ahead and I decided to transfer them first to bigger pots so that I could better control the soil until they really got strong, and then put them in the ground after that. Last year we went with the no-dig method. We tried to do cardboard and compost and all those kinds of things, and we started in the fall, but even by the time spring came, it was just not ready for planting, especially direct sowing seeds, and that's what we tried to do on several things. It was just the ground was way too tough. Things like it was so mulchy, it was so compact, there was really no room for water to drain, it seemed like, or if it did, it was a very slow process. So this year we decided we were just going to go for it with the till method, and hopefully we won't have to till every year. I would love to not have to till ever again unless we start a garden in a different area of our property, because I know that it does take so much out of the soil whenever you do that. But in order to just get a clean slate, this is the method that we chose to go with this year. So once we had gotten everything tilled, we went ahead and raked out our pathways so that we can better define our garden beds as we're adding compost. We don't want to waste any compost, obviously. It takes a long time to get that, and it takes a lot of effort to sift it because we are using a handheld manual sifter, not like a barrel sifter or anything like that. We used what we had, and I'm super grateful for my husband's frugality and resourcefulness in that. So we just wanted to make sure that we were maximizing what we were working for, which I also love so much about how we're doing this, because it's so much like from the heart, from the hand. It's just so much of it is so rewarding. But we wanted to make sure that our chickens, because we let them free range every day, we wanted to make sure that they were not going to mess with any seeds or baby sprouts that were coming up. So we went ahead and put like a 2.5 foot fence around our garden with chicken wire and stakes. And I think in total this fence came out to be, because we already had the chicken wire, it came out to be right at like $100 by the time we got all the stakes. And that's really all that we needed. We had everything else on hand. So far, they have not been flying over it, and I'm hoping that they won't. There's plenty of other property for them to free range on, and especially right now, while there's not a lot in the ground for them to get to, they're not messing with it. So the real test will be when we sow all the seeds. We'll have to see how they do with that. I'm considering putting my husband's deer camera out there so that I can keep a close eye on them at all times, but we'll see about it. Once everything in the garden gets more established, I would love to, I don't know that I want to take the fence down, because last year I think we had some issues with rabbits, and that was another difficulty that we ran into because we used like hog panel fencing, so the holes were bigger and small animals like that could still get in and out. I think rabbits were what was eating a lot of my green beans and, oddly enough, not carrots, but lettuce and spinach. So they had a really hard time, and strawberries. But I think that I do want the chickens to be able to help garden, if you will, once things get more established. I know that they can do a lot for a garden by coming in and getting bugs while they're free ranging, helping you to eliminate some of those pests, as well as obviously fertilizing. So I am curious to see how we can incorporate them, but not anytime in the near future. So now I am sowing seeds for tomatoes. I would love to have 6 well-established tomato plants by the time we sow all of the other seeds. I'm thinking April 6th is when I will sow seeds. Around here in the South, I don't know if this is common for everywhere, but there's a tradition that everybody's always sown seeds on Good Friday, which this year would be March 29th. And to me, that just feels early. So I'm kind of going loosely based on that, loosely based on the Farmer's Almanac, loosely based on weather patterns. I mean, there's just a lot going into it. And I'm thinking maybe April 6th, which is our predicted, somewhere around there is our predicted last frost. I'm thinking that will be a safe enough bet, as well as, if you're new here, I teach half-day preschool where my daughters attend. And that's our spring break week. So that'll give me a chance to kind of get all of that done, hopefully. And then I would also love to go ahead and have some marigold plants established. So I'm starting those in seed trays as well, hoping that I have some cinder blocks sitting around the front and sides of the garden, and I'm hoping I can use those as kind of raised bed planters for the marigold flowers, and that will help with both pollination as well as keeping away some pests and little critters. And lastly, I just wanted to show you a rough sketch. It's definitely not to scale, but this is the rough sketch of our garden layout and kind of what I'm hoping for. It ended up looking a little bit differently by the time everything was said and done, but all in all, we will have, hopefully, carrots, cucumbers, lettuce, spinach, broccoli, okra, strawberries, green beans, squash, and corn, using the Three Sisters method for those if you're familiar. If you're not, feel free to look that up. There's a lot of information on it. I would love to do a few watermelon plants and then some peppers. I've heard those are tricky, but I'd like to give it a try. And then obviously a row of tomatoes and potatoes on the opposite end. So the inner beds I am having to do a little bit more research on to make sure that I am cross-pollinating well and putting companion plants near each other. So we'll see if that's exactly the order that they go in, but this is the loose sketch of how it'll go. I know, like I said, that gardening is not for everybody. It's not something that everyone cares anything about. Maybe you come here for homemaking content. Maybe you come here for family content, and that's not what any of this has been. I mean, I guess in a way it's homemaking, but I just wanted to share part 1 of my garden diary for the year and give you a little insight into what's going on around the exterior of our home, as I so often share about the interior. And you know, the exterior of our home has not had nearly as much time and attention put towards it. 1, because of finances. 2, because it is hard when you have 2 very small children to get a lot of work done outside, as well as keep an eye on them and make sure that they're safe. We live on the corner of 2 very busy roads, so this is not something that has been able to really be prioritized. Now that our girls are going to be turning 4 and 2 this year, we find a little bit more comfort in allowing them to help us with these things, and especially since we have a fence around the garden area, I feel much better about that. But we are just getting our feet set here on this property, and I think that's the beauty of making a house a home, is that it's not everything that you want it to be on day one. It takes time for these things to come to fruition, and then in the end, you know, it's worth the wait. You can see why you can see more of how the hard work paid off. And so that's what I'm looking forward to. We go back and forth almost daily about should this be our forever home or not. And so in the meantime, we're just trying to be wise with what we are stewarding and how we've been blessed, and like I said, trying to learn a lot along the way. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you're having a great day wherever you're at, and I'll catch you next time. Bye guys.